Welcome back to Comfort Breeds Complacency. This is episode 14. Today we're doing a little recap of my Molokai swim, channel swim. We got the boys here. We got Spencer Mumford. He's part of my Okanagan Lake swim crew as well. And then new videographer of the team, Kyle Poole. So got the boys out here doing a three-way pod in the hotel room, midnight. Week later. I'd actually be swimming right now, a week ago. But got the boys here.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Dived on in. Well, we started this this journey even with Kyle. How you found out when about that reel? I posted a reel probably a month and a bit ago. You just shot me a message to come on out.
Yeah, just a cold message. The reel was cool. I just thought you were doing some insane shit and wanted to be a part of it. So yeah, I'm happy. We got on a call like a few days later and booked the flights within 24 hours of the call, and here we are.
Yeah, it happened pretty quick. I remember taking that call in the bathroom of the gym. Just kind of happened. Got her done quick. And Mumphy was he was a late addition too. We had my buddies Ken and Con were coming out for just kind of moral support. They weren't part of the actual boating crew, but they stayed at the Airbnb with us. And then Spencer was going to do the same, but he wanted to be actually part of the boating crew. So he was kind of a last minute addition, and good God, am I glad you got added to the crew. Came in handy at the end.
The whole time.
Oh yeah. How quick, close did you book your flight?
Say probably like a month.
A month.
Yes. On my way back, like so tomorrow, I'll be flying out on like a business class seat, just because that was the only ticket left, right? To get back, right? So I mean, it was definitely last minute, but I mean, I remember talking to you about it, and it was, I mean, sure it'd be great to come to Hawaii, but I was like, one of the main drivers of me coming is if I can help, if there's a need for me there to actually help you out, right, with the swim, right, to be an asset there. And so you said, I think you talked to your dad, and your dad was like, yeah, could maybe use an extra hand on the boat. When I heard that Gary needs me, I said, if Gary needs me, I'll be there. So.
Oh yeah. Well, you had the experience too from the Okanagan Lake one.
Yeah.
Which was nice. You were a big help on that one too. But yeah, I guess when we all flew out. I flew out the 14th. The rest of the boys came out, what, the 16th, 15th, 16th, or what day?
16th, yeah.
16th. Good God, right away. As soon as the boys got there, we had like a week window between the 18th to 25th for weather when we could do the swim. But then the 16th, the captain was saying that we might just be going straight out the bat. So I was telling the boys, like, as soon as they landed, it's like, we might be going tonight. I was like, oh my gosh. What were you thinking of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Kyle and I, that's where we met right away. And
at the airport?
Yeah, right after you sent that message. Like, I pretty much met up with Kyle, and I kind of told him, I was like, hey, listen, like, it could be going down tonight. I think both of us were, it was definitely, like, sudden, but we're pretty pumped about it because we're thinking, okay, we just, like, get this crushed out right away, and then we have the rest of the days we're in Hawaii to, like, roam around, explore stuff, right? And so it was definitely an excitement about it. Like, for sure, some trepidations were in there, just, fuck, am I ready? But you know what? If it were to happen, it were to happen, right? So you can't control it. And yeah, it worked out that it was Monday.
Yeah, like I found out immediately when I met you.
Yeah.
It was funny because when I texted Nick when I got off the plane, I was like, hey, I just landed. You're like, text this guy. He's going to meet up with you. And I was like, all right. I'd never met him. And I was like, he's not going to know what I look like. So I just texted him. I was like, hey, just look for the really tattooed guy. Yeah. And it was the first thing he said when he walked up. He goes, you are really tattooed. Yeah. And he's like, we might be doing the swim tonight. I was like, tonight? Okay. As in like 4 hours from now. Yeah. So that would have been, I mean, it would have been cool in some ways too, just like get that done immediately and then have the rest of the time and just not even have the time to think about it at all in the filmmaking aspect. But I'm actually really glad that we took the time to do it a couple of days later, because it made the filming process much easier. And
yeah, well, Mike was maybe saying we might have went that night. Mike was the captain of the boat, but we went to meet him, like basically as soon as you guys got there, we went to meet him, just to have like a crew meeting. And then he said it looked like the winds had shifted, so Monday was better. So that's kind of when we first had our meeting with Mike. What do you guys think of Mike right off the bat?
I thought personally he was just very like dry. You know, he just
Straight to the point.
Straight to the point. There's no embellishment at all in anything he says. And with someone like that too, it's like all you can do is trust him, right? Because like you've obviously done the research, so whatever he says goes. And honestly, it's like McGregor said, you'll do as you're told. And we did as we were told the whole time. And yeah, no, I mean, it was cool meeting him beforehand, talking to him a little bit. But yeah, nothing could really prepare you for actually being on the boat. And as we'll probably get into, a lot of stuff did happen on the boat, but also not a lot happened on the boat. So yeah.
Well, we were supposed to fly over. The crew was just supposed to fly over from Molokai, or to Molokai from Oahu. And then Mike was supposed to go with his crew in the boat over, just so I didn't, as a swimmer, have to be in the boat rocking for like hours and hours before. But if we were to go that first night, we all would have went on the boat, but didn't end up happening that day. So I had a couple more days to prepare. And then it was March 18th, so Monday. Last Monday was scheduled to be a night swim. So we leave from Molokai to Oahu at 6 p.m. in Molokai and supposed to swim overnight to arrive in Oahu because you have to arrive into the island during the day. So yeah, that morning we woke up early, had some eggs and a protein shake, and then we all got fitted up and got our gear and headed to the airport. Our buddy Con, he drove us in our little rental car to the airport. We picked up my parents. My dad was coming with us, so we dropped some stuff off at the boat that would get taken over gear-wise, and then Con whaled us to the airport, dropped us off this little, like, it was called Terminal 3. It was basically just a shack where, like, the 8-seater planes go, and we checked in.
He hit him with some incredible words of wisdom.
Yeah, Con hit us off with a sick sign-off, and be talking to you, brother. And then he was gone. And then we had a couple hours waiting there. We met one of the social media guys for ARAC, YouTuber, and then randomly there, and then we loaded up the plane with the buys, the locals, and headed across. It was a little sketchy little plane, 8-seater.
It's like turbulent. Like the plane was just jittering around in there, especially when we went through the cloud, like the actual like rain cloud.
Well, it was funny. They had us line up in, I don't know what, weight, I think. But it was like me, Spencer, my dad, me, and then these like two massive guys, like probably 300 pounds each. And then Kyle was in the very back. Anyways, we all got loaded in and then took off. It's a pretty nice view going across there. It's just a quick flight, like 30 minutes. And then I saw some whales from up there. It's pretty sick. And then you fly into Molokai, and it was almost like flying into Africa. It was like red dirt, like plain looking landscape, pretty dry. Yeah, not very many people there. I think there were 7,000 people on the island total. You literally land, like walk off the plane, and then you're out of the airport. There's no security, no baggage, no nothing. And then, we got some lunch. Some random guy, we called the cab company. There's only like one cab, and they said it's busy, so to call this guy, some random friend. And some dude in a white van pulled up, and picked us up and drove us to get some lunch or something. The guys got lunch, and then we just kind of hung out and then got dropped off to the starting point where Mike was supposed to meet us. So we got there earlier in the day than we were originally planning to. And then we just kind of hung out for a while there. I just kind of did some stretching and got ready. Kyle got some shots. And then, yeah, what'd you guys think? Because Mike was coming across, and then because the waves are so big on the shore break, we were supposed to swim out a few hundred meters to Mike, where he was then supposed to take us to the most northern point, which is closest from Oahu, so the most northern tip of Molokai. And then Mike was coming across, and what'd you think when you saw the swim you were going to have to make?
I mean, to be honest, when we first walked into that, like, quote-unquote resort, and I saw the waves crashing onto the rocks and people surfing like a pipeline, I was like, wait, I'm supposed to swim with my camera gear in this? Like, I was given a small kitchen garbage bag for my bag of gear. Like, that's not gonna do. And also, like, I have to swim this with no life jacket, no help. Like, my bag weighs 25 pounds at least. And yeah, so that was immediately like, okay, let me lock into this and let me get mentally prepared for that moment. But
yeah, because we as the swimming team was honestly just kind of doing what we were told, as far as like, we were told we were going to get on the beach, and then the kayak was going to kind of come in and we'd give our bags to him, and then we'd just kind of tread out a little bit to the boat. But then we saw the waves, and you have to literally cut through like 10-foot shore breaks and all that. It was a little bit sketchy, but
yeah.
Good thing there was a general store.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. We got to bag our stuff a little bit. Got a bag.
Yeah, I got a couple bags.
Yeah, I got a bag, yeah. And then yeah, swimming out there, man. And the whole time, like, even leading up to it, like, the whole time I'm just thinking in my head, like, I'm gonna get got by a shark. I guarantee it. Like,
The whole drive over too.
This is gonna happen for sure. I had no issue with the swim at all. I've swam like my whole life, so I don't really care about that. It was just, I have no idea. I've never done any research. Even on the way over, I was like, I'm not even gonna look to see if there are sharks in the area, because like, it would just scare the shit out of me, and I was just so scared, and so it was just a panic swim to the boat, like, just gassed myself swimming to the boat too, because I was just like, my heart rate was just like so fast because I was just scared. And honestly, like, the first little bit was decent because I bet even for you, Kyle, like, it was like the bag was like almost like a flotation device, and then when they took it away, it's almost like you're just by yourself, and now you have the deepest and hardest part of the swim coming up.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, there wasn't like as much like wave danger like once you got out there,
mm-hmm.
but it was like swells, so like it's still,
yeah.
It just felt like it was you'd take like a minute to get like, you know.
Oh, buddy, there was wave danger. When we went to go in, and Gary got swept over by his bag, and I went to go grab it and help him, and I got bodied on the rock, started bleeding out of my side.
But that was right at the start.
That was right at the start. Yeah, even before that, when Mike showed up, he said the beach we're supposed to leave off was gone. Apparently it washed away. So then he's like, okay, we're just going to go over a little bit. It's like a few hundred meters over. It ended up being like a 2K hike over this mountain. I got stabbed in the foot by this like huge thorn, but we're already ready to swim. So we're in our bathing suits and like trekking out here in nothing but our swim trunks. And we crawl through there, finally see where we have to go, get suited up, package our stuff in the bags, start heading out. And I'm behind with my dad. I see Kyle and Spencer try and go over this wave, and then they get at the crest of the top fin and just bodies them, just crashes over them, gets taken. Kyle's got all his camera gear in just this trash bag. Good God.
It was all I could do to even hold on to the bag.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But then, yeah, the whole drive over before that, I remember just telling you, Mom, oh, there's sharks. It'd be the funniest thing. I've just been, well, it wouldn't be funny, but it'd be ironic the whole time I'm talking about the sharks and I'm going to get bit, and then Mumphy gets bit in the 400-meter swim to the boat. I was giving him the gears.
Well, the driver was telling us like some shark stories and like the wave stories about like boats getting knocked over where we were supposed to start swimming from, and dolphins attacking sharks in that area and protecting swimmers. It was like,
oh yeah,
are we swimming to Jurassic Park? Like,
basically, dude. But yeah, I got out on past those waves. One of the kayakers came, took a few bags, and then we kind of treaded to the boat. Spencer and I got there first, and my dad and Kyle, and I was, like I said, I was gushing. There's literally blood in the water right when we were starting.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that because, like, I was swimming close to you because I thought in my head, like, if, like, there's, like, a big enough, there's, like, two of us, like, we're less likely to get got by a shark, right? But then it turns out you have blood, and, like, the only thing I know about sharks is they're attracted to blood, and so I'm swimming with a freaking, like,
chum bucket.
Yeah, chum bucket going in there, and you're just like laughing away, like, oh, let's keep going, whatever. And I'm just like killing myself out there. Like, shit, I've swam that far so many times, like, and never had an issue. But just that anxiety of the shark the whole time, and then to find out like I'm just swimming with the most like sought after person in the ocean because of the blood.
I was the most sought after because I was just floating.
True.
There was no movement in my swim.
You got Gary though. Gary would have fought the shark off.
Just choked it out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. But yeah, and then we got on the boat, and the things happened really fast when we got on the boat because we were supposed to drive to this other point, like I said, which was like the closest point to Oahu on Molokai. And Mike says the waves up there were too strong too. So like our whole plan that we'd originally planned for kind of got shot. He's like, so you may as well just start here, the beach I just came from. So then I was like, okay. I kind of just like, I had to grease up with my arms and my legs and my chest and everything with the zinc. And then I was kind of like shivering and cold, and it was like everything was kind of happening really fast. And then all of a sudden we kind of just started. Like immediately though, when I first got there, I just saw Gary 2 minutes in start puking.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, because Gary gets seasick. He's a dog.
Yeah, what'd you say to him?
But yeah, I told the first mate, I said, don't worry, he's a dog. He's like, oh, I bet he is. And I was like, oh yeah, Gary's a dog. But yeah, he helped me grease up my back. I got my chest, legs, arms. And then I threw on my swim cap, earplugs, and goggles. And Kyle started filming on the camera, Mumpy on the iPhone. And then I said, clocking in, baby. And did a backflip into the water. And then off back to shore I headed. So yeah, I had to go from the beach to the boat, back to the beach, and then leave on the real swim. So I swam an extra like kilometer and a bit that I guess didn't really need to swim, but whatever, it is what it is. But even Mumpy right away posted that video on Instagram. It was like, I thought I said locked in, but I said clocking in. And Spencer threw on a song and threw it on Instagram, and the reel now has 7 million views. Just like the most random reel ever to pop off, and everybody's calling me the Canadian coral killer because I'm wearing zinc in the water. It's hydrophobic, doesn't even come off in the water if you want it to. People are saying you're bleaching the reefs. I'm worse. One man wearing a little thing of zinc's worse than a Shell oil spill. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're basically Black Rock at this point.
Honestly, it's fair though.
It's fair.
Like, warranted.
The damage you did is like more than a Taylor Swift private jet.
Honestly,
I swear to you, honestly, like that. Honestly, I liked all those comments too. Like all the hate comments, hate from France, the blessings from Uganda. No, not liking that one. Hate from who was that? The Midwest. You're from the Midwest, so
hate from the Midwest.
Yeah, you got hate from your own place where you're from. So, I mean, honestly, like it's so valid. People's concerns about that.
Oh yeah.
And like you are just some diabolical menace in the water.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just
That's me. One tub of Equate diaper rash cream.
yeah, honestly.
Didn't even leave my skin when I wanted to.
I mean, I think I saw Gary put on some oil on you as well.
Yeah, oil me up, Dana.
He oiled you up a little bit. I mean, that's what I saw.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I saw.
I mean, who's the judge? What you saw?
I mean,
I'll do what I'm told.
Yeah, exactly.
My camera bag actually just had tins of kerosene in it, and I was just throwing them overboard just cause.
Yeah.
See, I was looking out. I was trying to stop it, but
yeah.
They wouldn't let me.
Exactly.
Hate from Narnia.
Narnia,
Hate from Middle Earth.
Anyways, I made it to shore. I couldn't even see the boat. The waves were so, like, the shore breaks are so big, so I just kind of assumed I'd start when I start. Press start my watch. This time was like 6:25, I think. So the sun was almost down. We were supposed to start around 5 originally. Then it got kind of pushed later, but yeah, man, just started and swam out through those waves again and met up with like the kayak. So there's one kayak in the water and then our support boat. So the support boat has a rum line that it holds from Molokai to Oahu. So it goes up a few hundred meters and then the kayak just follows the support boat exactly. And then I'm on the right-hand side of the kayak. But the kayak has these things called shark shields, which are they're like probably 2 meters long, they look like a long kind of seaweed wire. And they put out electro pulses that are supposed to keep sharks away. But we figured out after they only have a range of like 2 meters by, 2 meters by 4 meters or something?
Yeah, 2 by 4.
So it was, you really can't get too far away from it, but if you get too close to it, it almost feels like if you get really itchy from pre-workout, you get this like stinging, burning, and then you feel it in your teeth. It like if you had fillings in your teeth, kind of buzzes you, and if you touch it, it zaps you. So you can't get too far, but you can't get too close. And I just had to swim like breathing out of my left-hand side, looking at like the back right-hand corner of the kayak, and just kind of, I had a pretty good pace starting off. We were doing like probably like 18-minute kilometers, and it was kind of just like my feedings were every 45 minutes, and we just kind of went to it. And I thought it was going to be like a tough pacing, but we just keep holding it. And the first ones went pretty well, I think. Like I didn't even think the first until halfway at 7 hours in, I was at 21 kilometers. Which is like pretty good pacing. And, but I mean, it got dark pretty quick. So, I mean, everything kind of gets more difficult when it's dark. Gary was supposed to be doing my feeding. Spencer was supposed to be doing my social media. And then Kyle was supposed to be the filmer for just like our film we're making. I guess kind of roles changed pretty quick on the boat, hey?
Oh, yeah.
I'd say.
What happened on the boat?
Up on the boat was, a lot of responsibility got thrusted onto my plate, really quickly that, honestly, I did not have the prerequisite knowledge for it. You're feeding. I couldn't tell you what you're even eating, to be honest. I don't even know what ingredients are in the stuff they had. I just remember Gary right before I gave him permission to pass out. He was like,
because he was seasick.
Oh, he was so seasick, and he was pushing through, and I kind of just told him, I was like, listen, I got this, go lay down for a bit, because I was like, it'll be temporary, he'll be back in 2 hours, you just need some rest, right? So he kind of fought it for a bit, because he was like, no, it's fine, don't worry about it. And then slowly started giving me a bit of responsibility with the feeding. I was like, okay, I guess I put a Pro Mix in. Shout out Pro Mix. We get Pro Mix in. We get the carb mix, and attach a little hammer gel to the side of it, to the side of the bottle, and then just chuck it out to you on almost like a reel. It was like fishing almost, right? And so I'd toss it out to you and unreel it really quick because you'd be blown away so fast. And then when you're done, you'd like chuck it back and unreel it back in, right? It was pretty much fishing. But then almost like 5-6 feedings in, Gary was like, you could tell he was wearing it.
I thought it was like 3 in.
Oh, yeah, it was probably 3 in.
Well,
and
puking started that early, though.
Yeah.
Like, it started immediately.
Gary was like straddling. He'd be straddling the boat, just like, and then like grabbing your food, putting it together. And then like, yeah, he just passed off the responsibility to me once I just reassured him, like, I can deal with this. Like, don't worry about it. Like, I got this. And so I just kept giving you the same stuff over and over and over again. The same flavor of hammer gels, probably like whatever, however many were in a package, I'll just keep giving you the same flavor. You're like, oh, afterwards, like, oh, why didn't you mix them up? Well, sorry, you know. Like,
I didn't get the crash course.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and even then, like, we just kept going through for the feedings in particular. I was just thinking the whole time, like, fuck, like, maybe I'm supposed to mix it up because that carb mix was going quick.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I ran through everything for like a while with Gary, like months. We went through the nutrition and how he was going to do it and this and that. And it just goes to show, like, we're only supposed to have 2 crew members out there, like a feeder and the videographer. And then you were like an extra add-on. Mm-hmm. So like Gary was really the only one that was supposed to be doing the feeding. And then when you got added on, which is like a good thing because he was out for the count at a certain point. But yeah, we were supposed to have a scoop and a bit of carbohydrate mix in the bottle, electrolytes with the Pro Mix, and then strap like a hammer gel on to the outside with an elastic band. And then you have to toss the ball out on a rope, and you can't touch a boat or anything. And the idea is that you like stay close enough, you eat it, and if I need something else, like a couple times you threw bananas or stuff like that, but the bananas got all like mushy and I could barely eat them. But there's times the captain was saying in the channel where like people were able to sit and talk and tread water for like 10 minutes while they're eating. Whereas when we were eating, you'd throw me the bottle and within 10 seconds, I'm already like 50 feet back. By the end of my feeding, I'm 100 feet back at the end of the rope, trying to like get it before the rope goes tight, finish it, chuck it back in, and then it's like, jeepers creepers, you just gotta get right back to it. So you swim for like these 45 minutes, just looking forward to like your break and your feeding. Then you get up there, have to like eat while the water's breaking over your head, trying to drink, and you're like coughing, treading water, taking in salt. Then all of a sudden it's done and you're just back to swimming. It's like, oh.
There was really no break.
Yeah,
there was no break at all.
Yeah,
like,
it's not like in cycling or running when you get to like an aid station, you can sit down, take a rest. It's like the rests are more work than the actual swimming.
It was funny too, because like in the Okanagan swim, there was like a back and forth between us and like the crew, right?
Yeah.
Or like us and you on when you're swimming. So even though you were like I don't know, it was like so you're going through it. It's like we could like kind of like talk with you a little bit. Whereas this one, like you'd like come in, I'd like toss you the bottle. Nick, how you doing?
What?
How you doing? Good. And then you're like all the way away.
Well, I couldn't hear. I have the earplugs in. It's windy for you guys. It's like
windy, and you said you could barely even see us because of the lights.
Oh yeah. Well, first we couldn't even use white lights. We had to use red because the jellyfish don't see red apparently. But even with the wind, yeah, apparently. I don't know how well that works, but like when I was back a bit, the swells were so big, like I couldn't even see the boat. If the boat was like on the horizon, when it goes down, I'd go up and it would be hidden. Then when I would start going down, it would get hidden by the waves. So it was like I could barely even see you guys till it was like right upon you, and then you're gone again in 20 seconds. And then, but while I'm eating, the kayaker's not around, so the shark shields aren't around. So you're just free balling it in the water, and you're out there in like the night, and the whole time you're thinking just like hearing the other horror stories of people getting snagged by cookie cutter sharks and stung by jellyfish. Right before we left, we saw whales right in the line of where we were going. It's just like there's so many creatures and critters out there, and it's nighttime, and it's just like
monster soup.
Yeah, monster soup. Mike was saying that it's like The reason that the kayak, like when he's away, it's like there's very low odds that a shark would be there right at the time it is. But then you start thinking, damn, but what if it is?
There's no way out.
Yeah. Shit.
I had the thought that like these shark things were like really had a really good radius to them.
Yeah, range.
So like at all times, like you would be covered. But then like during the swim, when they'd change, the kayakers, I would like
change every 2 hours.
Oh yeah, every 2 hours, and like you'd be out there like when they did the change, you were probably out there by yourself for probably 5 minutes, waiting for them to change. And I was in my head, I was like, fuck, like either one, we're gonna lose them. Like your light's gonna go out, or like we're not gonna find, because the swells are so high.
And it's 10 hours of it is pitch black.
It's so pitch black.
All there was a one little red light on the back of my goggles.
Like you can't even imagine how dark it is. Like disorienting even on the boat. You're using red light. Like it's not like it's something you're used to seeing that often. Like strictly dark red. Like it was very odd.
Yeah, it's not like Okanagan too, where like you're going in the shore and at most you're a few K from the shore and there's like house lights. It's you're just in the middle of the channel. There's nothing out there.
Yeah.
It's dark.
No, it was just like a funny, like, I don't know. It was just such an interesting time, even on the boat, right? Like I'm just like so locked in, just like trying to like get the feeding. And the whole time during the feed, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to give him like this carb mix every single time, because like this thing's getting so fucking empty. And I'm like, oh, we're in trouble here. The waters are go running low, and I'm like, Kyle's like trying to eat some gravel, and I'm like, or like drink, like have some fluid to wash it down. I'm like literally like
mouthful.
I'm like, listen, like you can like, I'm not gonna stop you from having the water, but like we kind of fucking need this water. Like we're running out. Like. There's not much left, and we may have like...
And you'll puke it up anyway.
Yeah, I was like, you'll puke it up anyway, it's fine, don't worry about it, you know? And I mean, so, but like, it's not like the whole time, I didn't even eat anything, because like all I brought was like gluten stuff, so like crackers or like sandwiches, and I was like also sick too, but like the crackers like normally help with like seasickness. I couldn't even touch those because like I was handling your food. So the whole time I just like, I think it was, what was it, 14 hours or something?
We're 13 and a half.
13 and a half. I just was dry.
So to even back that up, like we prepared the sandwiches and we talked about how excited we were to eat them.
Very good.
And we talked about even the day before, like so pumped to eat these sandwiches.
Yeah.
Get on the boat and it's just like your hunger just dissipates immediately. Yeah. And when you start throwing up like I was, like uncontrollably, all I wanted was a sip of water. But knowing that I can't have it and just puking dry for like 30 consecutive times.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a more uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
Other than if I was in the water, I guess. Yeah. And that was happening. But
yeah.
It was, I mean, it's just like at that point, it's like, I just know in my head, it's like, we can like make it happen up here if like because the crew did have other drinks. Like I think they had like some pops and some coffees and stuff. So I was
they had water in the like.
I think so. Well. I think they did, but at the time, like, one, I'm like sleep deprived, and like two, I'm like, I don't really know like what they're willing to give up, because like they're gonna need water too, like for themselves if this is gonna keep going. So like if we start pulling into their stuff during the swim, they're gonna be like, okay, let's call it, because they don't even have enough supplies, right?
But so also where all the extra supplies was like under where Gary was sleeping.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's just like it's tough when you go through organizing so much stuff with somebody and then they get taken out right away, right?
Yeah.
It's because it's like they had all the answers to the questions, but they're just like debilitated by the waves and sickness, right?
Well, even like for talking, right? Like Gary, like for in the swim, like Okanagan is like, yeah, sure, we talk to you, but like whenever, like the serious stuff Gary talks to you about, right? Like that's like, oh, like this is wrong, what do I do? Then he's gonna tell you an answer. If you're to tell me, my shoulder's fucked, I'd just tell you, I would honestly just tell you, oh, fuck, can you keep swimming? Yeah, we just keep going then. Because
dude, that's basically what was happening. I remember at times, because when the waves were coming from my right side, like it was a northeastern wind, and my stroke went from like a normal like catch stroke to just being pushed like over center my right arm. So the whole time my stroke was pulling like this strange angle because it was just getting like pushed basically from the right side. So I remember early on, like way earlier than even in training swims or anything, my shoulders started to get like squirrely. And we had the baby aspirin, which really helped in the Okanagan swim. So I was like, okay, Mumphy, like I need the baby aspirin. And I remember you put it in the bottle one time, and then like it went, gave it to me or whatever, and then pulled it back in, and then you opened it up and saw it in there still, like it stuck to the bottom or something. And you're like, oh shit, he didn't even get it.
That was the second one.
That was the second time?
Yeah, so you went through two, like I think it was, so it was 4 hours where you're like, oh, like, are you thinking you have aspirin in you?
Yeah.
You haven't had
You started hurting a lot more. I was like, you should, like, when's the next aspirin? You're like,
And then I put the other one in, and that's when I found out, because then I looked at the bottle. I was like, oh fuck, that's not even gone. They're both there. Because you said they would dissolve or something.
Like
well, usually you put it in and it just mixes enough to go in.
Yeah.
But then we had to get so close, you had to drop it in my hand, but I couldn't touch you. And I'm getting rocked up and down in the water, trying not to touch a boat or you, so be disqualified. And you're just like, drop it right in, and then I have to eat it.
Yeah.
But then when you're drinking that, the salt water's coming in, so you're literally like drinking the fresh water, and then half of it becomes salt water. And it's like, you either spit it out and lose your nutrition, or swallow it but get the salt. And then I was getting to the point where like, probably 1 out of every 3 feedings I was puking, even in the night. So I remember one time I had an aspirin and then just puked right away. And I was like, oh. So my fueling for that whole next half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever, was gone, like immediately after I had it. And then it's like, what do I tell you? And you pull it in quick and make a new one, or to just like suck it up and go for the next half an hour?
Yeah.
But it was like, that was a grind. Then we started getting, honestly though, we still kept a pretty good pacing. Like I remember even like, I remember at 21K, we were around 7 hours, which would have put us at like, what, a 14, 15 hour finish. I think the guy said we were looking at like a 9 a.m. finish.
Yeah, at 9 a.m., that was around like 3:34.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah. And then it started to get a bit lighter. It got light pretty quick, actually, it feels like to me. But it was just such like a dark, lonely feeling out there. It's just like, just even like the kayakers, because on my Okanagan swim, I knew all the kayakers. Like if I had to say something or needed some banter, cheering up, they'd tell me. I feel like they were kind of like colder on this swim. We didn't really know each other. It was just like kind of more straight down, get to business. So it was like you can't really ask them questions or talk to them, and then you're just in your own thoughts, and it's literally just pitch black, and you're thinking about what creature, apex predator, would just eat you from the bottom up. But then you can't really think about that the whole time, or else you won't like do what you're supposed to. And then it started to get lighter out, and by this time I was slowing down quite a bit. I was getting to the point where I was puking almost every time in the feedings, it felt like, and then taking on a lot of water. And then, but when it got light out, I saw Kyle pop back up, and my dad popped back up, and that was probably around what, like 6 a.m. it got light, 6:30.
It was probably like 6:15. You woke me up.
Yeah.
Like I had talked to Spencer throughout the night, like whenever I could, like whenever the feedings came, because that was really the only time I could see you throughout the night. I could see the red light pop up. I try and get some shots, but just the thought of getting up from where I was laying down, like, and to walk 2 feet into the cabin, grab my camera, and come back out and film you just seemed like the most daunting task, because like I couldn't stand properly. I was just like out of it. Like the red light was making my eyes close and be tired. And then when I finally talked to Spencer, and he's like, dude, just like wait till morning. Like it's repetitive for the filming, so it's okay. We'll get some shots in the morning. And then you woke me up, and I remember looking up and just being like, I can see stuff. Like I the first time and like the whole time I can actually see something. And I felt way better immediately, because I could actually see like horizon, and it grounded me a lot more. So then I was able to actually get quite a few shots, and like I didn't feel comfortable flying the drone still at that particular moment, but I was able to get lots of shots, and then Gary also got up too, which was nice. So we all kind of rallied a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, Gary got up at the right time, because like that's not a conversation for me to have with you.
Yeah.
You know, like
Once the light came up, it's probably like 45 minutes after it got sunnier. At this point, I'd slowed down quite a bit. I was really feeling it in my lungs. Felt like I'd like breathed in quite a bit of water. Unfortunately, too, I had gotten just like the worst timing. I'd gotten a bit sick right before this trip. Been like healthy as can be all the way leading up to it, and just like worst timing. But and then I was like getting so much of the puke in and couldn't really keep my nutrition in because of all the salt waters taken in, swallowing. And then I just felt just a wretched, stinging burning on my face. And I felt like angel hair noodles in my hand. It felt like just like thin little tentacles. And all of a sudden it just wrapped on my face. It was a jellyfish. Went on my arm, and I like tried to wipe it off. Went on my chest. And I remember like feeling so much stinging burning. It was like a hot iron, or like a coat hanger had been heated up and branding you, and just wouldn't stop. And then probably about like 15, 20 minutes later, I got another one, it felt like. I think it was that long, but I definitely got two. And then it was either Portuguese man-o-war jellyfish or a box jellyfish, but pretty much everybody who's seen the stings and everything thinks it's Portuguese man-o-war, which are these little like air-filled sac jellyfish that float on the surface and have these long tentacles that like kill little fish and like just fuck up humans too. So as soon as I got that on top of everything else, it felt like it was just like a ton of pain I was going through, and the pain wasn't as much the thing that was stopping me from continuing. It was my legs all of a sudden felt like they were paralyzed. Like it was the weirdest feeling. It felt like in my lower back too. I couldn't kick my legs. So they went from like a flat streamlined position to almost dragging like an anchor behind me. And then I remember Spencer was saying Captain Mike was telling them, because of the currents and stuff, started pushing us a bit the other way, kind of down south. It was like he's got to speed up. And I remember Spencer comes out to me and says, at one of the feedings, I just got hit by this jellyfish. I'm puking, like my face is swelling shut with the salt. I'm coughing up like phlegm and shit. Spencer says, "You gotta speed it up, bud." I said, "What the hell? Like I'm trying, but I feel like I'm paralyzed." He said, "Well,
Speed it up.
Try."
oh, keep going.
Yeah, keep going. I was just like, it just felt like so hard. I couldn't kick really. It was just basically dragging like my legs. So it was getting pretty tough at that point. And I think Gary started talking to me a bit, but yeah, it was.
Yeah, at that point too, it's like I remember, like in the Okanagan swim, like I could kind of give you a bit harder of a time because there's like more constant communication, right? Like, but this one is like can't really say anything to you because you're just already so far from the boat. You can't hear me. It's also like what I found out after is that everyone on the boat thought I was the coach. Yeah. And so like they'd come out to me and say, "Hey, he needs to go faster." And I said, "Well, why don't you go tell him that then?" I was like, just tell the kayaker to tell him to go faster. And then the other parts too, you'd come to the boat, and I think we exchanged some funny lines sometimes. And I assume they probably thought like this guy's like the worst coach ever. Like this guy's no idea what he's talking about.
Well, that's the thing. We couldn't hear each other too. So like one time I was like, "How far are we in?" And I think you said we're like 25K in. And I thought you said we have 45K left, which would have mean like the whole swim left. And I remember just going, I'm like, fuck you, Mom.
Yeah.
But for the coach, for the guys on the boat, it was probably like you giving a genuine answer, and then me saying that. They're probably like, what kind of what is it?
Yeah.
But I just couldn't hear him, and he didn't hear like what I said completely. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, not once did I ever give you any tips on like your strokes or anything, or be like, oh yeah, like pace or anything. All I would say was, you good? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, keep going. So they probably just thought I was the worst, honest. They probably thought this guy has no idea about nutrition. Because I think they were making fun of the nutrition at first because it was, I don't know, because we said initially every 45 minutes and they were like every 30, which I think you discovered early on in that 30 was probably the right number to do. So right off the bat, they're probably like, they thought I was that guy. So this guy's fucking the worst coach ever. Doesn't know a damn thing about nutrition. What the hell is he even doing on the boat? The only reason why
he's not puking.
He's not puking. And so that was like I think that's kind of like funny to look back on, to think like of that, how like intense that swim is, right? Like it's such a grueling swim. Like around 100 people have even like finished it, right? Let alone the people who've attempted it. So it's kind of funny looking back that for that intense of an experience, for that extreme of an excursion, you kind of like, I don't know, it's like I was the person giving you food when I like have never ever, I don't think I've ever trained anything longer than 10K in my life. Like you can tell me, I couldn't tell you anything about any of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, in my perspective, it's my dad who was supposed to be doing it, who got taken out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But all my training has been like, I've done all my own training for the past while.
Yeah.
And like, I'm confident in my ability to do my training and know what I need, specifically as like a celiac or somebody that other people can't relate to sometimes, as far as like nutrition and what you need. So I'm like confident in what I need and how I do it. And I don't feel like the training was an issue because like, fitness wise or anything, that wasn't the issue, but it definitely is open water experience in the ocean, which coming from Calgary, Alberta, or Kelowna, you don't really have, right? A lot of these people have done this channel live in Hawaii, California, South Africa, places that you have oceans. So it is just more like ocean experience needed. It was really, I was saying, like I did some training in Guatemala right before this for about a week. And then other than that, I've done like training in Maine before in the past in the ocean, but really haven't done a ton of ocean swimming, just kind of been relying on my experience in the Okanagan swims and that pool train swimming and everything. But yeah, just like having people I can trust on the crew, which is obviously you. I know you've had my back in all these endeavors, so that's kind of how I choose this crew and the people that I want beside me in those things, and people I know I can trust to step up when that happens, right? Which you did. But yeah, it's funny thinking you're the swim coach who doesn't swim.
even for like Gary, right? It was something I would say to Kyle, because Kyle felt really bad about like being sick throughout it. And like I was saying like to reassure you, I'm like, listen, like Gary would like kill for Nick. Like there's not a single part of him who like is choosing to be sick right now. If he had any ability to be feeding Nick, like he would have done it 100%. Like if I was on the boat, he would have found a way, like guaranteed.
Well,
right?
He was up all 70 hours of that Okanagan swim.
So he would have found a way to do it. It's like, but with that seasickness, when it hits, like there's no stopping it. And just like seeing the looks on like you and Gary's face was like wild. And like I remember like the small conversations, because I didn't have a lot of conversations that night, but like the small conversations I had with you and with Gary were just, I look back and like, I mean, you guys were going through it, but I kind of just thought it was like, it was kind of funny in the moment, to be honest. Like I remember Gary just crawling out of the space. I'm sorry. I'm like, don't worry, just go back to sleep, it's fine. And you're just like, you'd come up and be like, be like, oh, I wish I could film some more or something like that. And I'm just like, just go back. It's the same thing. It's like Groundhog Day over and over and over again. Like you don't need to film. Like if you can't film, don't film. Like it's like in that instance, like you just see what like seasickness does to somebody, and like how it just shows how it can like take you out of the game completely, especially knowing the fact that like Gary is the dog of dogs.
Oh yeah.
And like even he couldn't overcome it, right?
Yeah.
And like not saying that he wouldn't have been able to if I wasn't on the boat, but like it just shows like on the boat we aren't even moving, we aren't even swimming, and like it just it crippled the crew. Imagine like you in the water going through those waves, swallowing salt water, like dealing with all that like lack of like fueling because of throwing up, right? How you had to be able to push through that even to get to the point that you got to, right? And like that fear, that anxiety of being in the open water, pitch black, like that's got to be some of the most lonely and frightening times of like your whole life.
Oh yeah. What do you think? It's like, even when I was swimming Guatemala and stuff, I had one of those shark bands on my leg, and like you still think, oh, your next stroke, you're just gonna like see a great white's mouth just like swallow you. And the whole time on this too, you start to think like that, but you literally can't. Like you kind of have to, like Goggins says, if you're not that person, you have to create somebody who is. It's just like you kind of just have to like fake bravery, but even faking bravery is still bravery, right? Like you're still in there doing it. So you just kind of gotta, I don't know, just like go through the motions of like we plan this, or I'm on the beach, the horn blows, and it's basically just like, hey, you just gotta enter and go, and then just keep putting one arm in front of the other. But I remember at points though thinking like I was so sick and I was in so much pain, I was like, I don't give a damn if a shark comes. Like, all I'm trying to do is focus on moving forward. Like, shark's the last thing I care about right now. And then, then it kind of got to that dire spot where I wasn't really moving much anymore with the current and my condition. And then I remember that's when Gary I couldn't even really hear him too much, but I remember we kind of had a conversation, and he thought it was best for me to call it, but I just remember like getting close, and he was telling me like, get out the water, let's go. And then he gave me his hand to like bring me in. I went to grab it the first time, and I was like, oh, but if I touch him, it's done. And I was doing this like I didn't want to touch him. And then I touched.
No, then you're like, fuck!
Hit the water,
Hit the water? Then you go on the boat and fuck us.
Yeah, well, so at that point I was 30K in, with where we started on the shore and kind of on Molokai and everything. It ended up being like, I think around 15K from Oahu. We were so close, man. It's like, that's a training swim for me. That's like a few hours normally in the water. So like heartbreakingly close. But at the same time, we were told that like it takes 4 hours to go across on like a normal-ish day from Oahu to Molokai. And even from the point we were at, only 15K away, it still took 3 hours to get back to Oahu with the boat just rocking. The whole time I was puking up just like this black, just sea water. I was just like a fish out of water. Just swelled up. My eyes were completely swelled shut. Spencer gave me his hoodie. It just got covered in all the white zinc cream, which was still on me for all the people that were saying it fell off in the water. And then, I remember just my dad was like holding my back and just like holding on to me for that time. But for me, I couldn't even tell how long we were doing that for. But you guys said it was a few hours.
It was probably 3 hours. And it was a really rough 3 hours though. Like we were just like because you were laying on like the kind of like a raised area, and you were just sliding everywhere. Like I was like, man, this is not what he needs right now. Like
they gave me this red bucket. I remember they just kind of like bail it out when I puked in it.
Do you remember Wait, I just remember this. Do you remember when Gary and I had to pick you up and lift you back on because you fell off?
Yeah, I was sliding around.
Yeah, a lot of help you gave that moment. Could have stood up and did it yourself.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it must be nice. That concierge service.
Kyle took a photo. Well, he took a couple photos, but I remember one on his good camera. My eyes were just like swelled completely shut.
It's cool too because like your dad's holding you in the back, and like you can just see like it was literally 4 seconds after you puked, and then you look at me and you're like, "Get the disposable."
My disposable can. Yeah, we still haven't seen that one yet, but that'll be a good disposable. Yeah. Always gotta keep the dispo around.
Like, how are you thinking about that right now?
And then, yeah, I remember pulling up to shore. What was it like telling the people? I think because my mom, Ken, and Colin were supposed to be like our finishing crew. And then I guess you had to contact them, let them know.
I called your mom, and I was like, that was an extremely tough call. Because it's like, just thinking about like for myself, like not accomplished, like, I don't know, it's like you think of all the hours you put into it and like the training and like how many people like know about this, right? And you're like, damn, like it's really over. And like, I'm going to have to be the person who says like, yeah, like he didn't, like he wasn't able to do it, right? Especially to your mom too, who's like such a sweet lady and like just, you know, always worries so much about you as well. Like to like call her and say like, yeah, listen, like Nick's not doing well. Like he's been pulled from the water and yeah, it's over, right? And that's just like, it's just heartbreaking because I mean we're there on the whole journey from literally from the plane ride over when we got here to now. And when like, it's just like, all we want is to like help you like get like, for you to push to your max, right? And so it's like, it's just tough because we just feel for you so much, man. It's like, because it's for us, it's like, it's a win no matter what, because you push yourself to your limit. Like you did all you could.
Like we have nothing but admiration.
Yeah, exactly. You won. Like you won in my books, right? Like it's such a learning experience for the future as well, and everything. Because we all know you're just gonna be back better, but just knowing for yourself, like how bad you wanted it, like that's just tough. It's like, you know, when you cheer for like a sports team, right? And they like make it to the Super Bowl and then they lose.
Yeah,
you're just like, fuck,
like 100x that.
Yeah, you're just like devastated. Like it's just an interesting feeling to have, and especially to just being there and like, yeah, it just yeah.
I think we all understand like how you must have felt to a degree, but also like we feel so proud like of you for it. Even just getting in the water, doing the swim as far as you did overnight, like all the things that you overcame in that, like we are just so proud. But we also understand like the competitor in you, that, you know, that's what makes you exceptional, and you know, we get that too.
Yeah, no, that's definitely tough. That's what you think about when you go like get pulled, is all like the training sessions, all the like, I almost get flashbacks, like PTSD, the 2 times you get pulled from the Okanagan Lake swim, and then you start thinking about like how many hours you think about that for the whole next year to come until you get to try it again or stuff. All the money spent to get out here, like, yeah, that stuff sucks. But really, like, once we got back to shore, and I remember just like I went back, got cleaned up, and I had to get some like medication and stuff for my stings and all that. But I remember just being like super grateful for all you guys helping step up and doing the jobs needed to help me even get that far, and just being like happy that I left relatively healthy, like obviously in lots of pain emotionally and physically, but like not really like for real paralyzed, not like blind, not like dead or drowned, you know? So you have to fight another day, and then you get this like experience that you can't buy. It's these things that it would have been great if we got it on the first try, but now I know exactly what not to do going forward. Now I know what to do. I can choose like all these logistics better. I know all these things that I can use going forward in swimming, or they can be fuel for my other endeavors, or just life in general, right? Like you learn so much on experience like this, and it's just adds more fuel to fire. And you say like that day right after, it's like, man, why'd I ever do this? Never want to do it again. Or the moment you get pulled, and then like one day later, it's like, man, I wish I could do it like tomorrow and use everything I've learned right away. But obviously you gotta take some time to chill and regroup, and you don't really learn from the experience, learn from reflecting on the experience. So just take time to reflect on it and come back better than ever. But yeah.
Well, I know, like, just knowing you, it's like it's, I don't know, it's like not a good thing to say, but it's like you're willing to like die in that water, you know? And so like that's why like the feeding is like everything, it's like so, it's always just like seamless, right? Because like I just know like I know your mindset, and like it's like you're gonna like I imagined you were in tons of pain out there the whole time, but I'm like, the last thing you want is for me to feel sorry for you, or for me to like I'll be like, oh, like kind of like throw a pity party for you, because like you're just gonna push through it. It doesn't matter. If you can swim, you'll swim, right? So in another way, it's almost like a lot of courage on your part, and like a moment of clarity for you to even accept being the swim being like called, right? Because like you, like I have no doubt like you would have gone until you couldn't anymore, right? And for you to admit that in that moment, that like this isn't going to happen today, it's not my day, it like shows a lot of courage.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's almost like that same mindset, probably like a UFC fighter, someone go in with. It's like you have to go in expecting or accepting any and all outcomes, whether that be like victory and like success, or whether that be like ultimate demise. Like you never know what's going to happen. Obviously you hope for the best, but you could easily get eaten by a shark, you could easily get drowned, something happen, you could easily like anything could happen out there, right? So you mitigate risk as best you can, but you have to accept some degree of responsibility when you're doing these dangerous things. So, but man, that's what keeps me like on waking up in the morning, and I hope that it like inspires people to find their whatever that is, whatever their Molokai channel is, whatever their like, just know that no finish ever guaranteed in anything you do, but effort's guaranteed, and when you just keep putting out effort, good things will happen. So that's basically like the brunt of it. And like my shirt says, comfort breeds complacency. Accepting that even when you do succeed, just not living on those forever, taking that high, making it your new baseline, and then just like keep stacking. Because if you just become one of those guys that was living in the good old days, and like you're just living in the past, right? So you want to obviously appreciate things you do, but keep striving. Those warm showers feel better when you've earned them. Yeah, actually, the shower was the nicest thing for the jellyfish. I think it helps pull the toxins out. So we put like, we had a couple of those Michelob Ultras in the fridge. I'm allergic to them, but we put a cold one on the stings, and it just started burning even worse. I remember I went out to get the stuff for stings. I tried Benadryl, Advil, like all sorts of stuff before I had to go to the hospital. I was just like in so much pain, like almost passing out. I was just sitting on the side of this like ABC store out here, like a gas station. Some guy goes, "Man, you got fucked up." I just go, "Yeah." He's like, "What, the reef get you?" "Oh, it's jellyfish." "Oh, yeah, you need to find that aloe plant." I go, "You have some?" "Nah, I don't even know where you find them." And then he just left. Thanks, bro. Fucking dying here.
So for all the viewers out there, the reef did get its revenge.
Yeah, the reef got his revenge. Still a little scarred up. Might be there for good, might not. Who knows? We won't forget about him, though. But yeah, man, it was quite a journey. And then did a couple hikes this week and just mobbed around the island. Saw the boys, Ken and Con, met a few local people, and happy to be alive.
It was nice that the swim happened, you know, when it did, like
Yeah.
earlier, because then, you know, the rest of the trip we were able to enjoy a little bit as well.
I think, like, even with our weather window, if we did on the 25th, we would still be swimming now.
Yeah.
Like, trying to finish in the morning in a few hours. But yeah, that was going to be tough if we got here on the 14th, for me anyways, and I didn't swim till the very last day. So
Yeah.
I'm glad it was early too, whether the weather was the best that day or not. But I can't really look at that way. You kind of just gotta do what you can with the day you got, and now we know what we look for kind of in the future. Probably set a longer time frame and just kind of be ready to go on any given day. So yeah, we'll be back. I don't know when or what discipline, but I'll definitely be back. Better than ever. More experience. Hungry dog. Hardest in the game.
Big dogs eat.
Big
Little
dogs
crying
eat.
puppies sit on the porch.
Well, I think that was pretty good. I think thanks everybody for watching. Episode 14, Comfort Breeds Complacency. The hardest in the game swim crew. Peace. Keep it nice and bad.